Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Melissa Estevillo. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist and owner of Biltmore Psychology and Counseling. So we are now several weeks into social distancing, and I don't know about you, but I'm feeling exhausted from all of this. I talked with a lot of clients this week, and it feels like we've kind of gone through this range of experiences where we were very shocked and confused about what was going on. Then maybe when we had a little bit more understanding, we felt kind of overwhelmed by this, and we had an increased level of anxiety. And we've touched on how to deal with COVID-related anxiety in some other videos. But for a lot of people this week, I think what we've run into is just this feeling of our mood being down, feeling really tired, and just kind of hitting the wall and feeling like, how long is this going to last? And I'm just so tired from all of this. And so I just wanted to be able to touch base with you guys about how common this experience is and potentially some ways to be able to get past this. So typically when our mood is down, what we first go to is this question of, am I depressed? And again, certainly there are going to be some people that are depressed through this time and certainly need to seek out some treatment for that. But for a lot of us, when it feels like we're just going, and it feels like no matter what we do, we're not getting to the end, we're not able to check everything off of our list, the common response is this feeling of burnout, where, more and more effort is poured in and we're not nearly as efficient. And so, that might be a bit of the experience that, for a lot of us we're having right now. So with that in mind, I wanted to be able to touch base on some things that potentially we could do about that. So the very first thing I think that's important is to identify the things that are truly outside of our control and learn to let it go. So again, in the words of Elsa from Frozen, it actually is a wonderful thing to be able to say, this is something that I didn't anticipate, didn't bring about, something that, obviously is super overwhelming, but there's so much about this whole process that is not within our control. We can't control that our neighbors might not be social distancing the way we'd like. We can't control potentially the way the media is reporting things or the way our government is handling this or the lack of testing that's available. There's so many things that we can care about and we should advocate for, but I just don't know with these problems being so large that they're truly within our control. And so it's important for us to be able to take control of the things that we do have control over and let go of a lot of the responsibility and feeling overwhelmed by the things that we just do not. The second thing that I think is important is for us to implement structure, like I said, in the areas that we do have control over and to set a plan and stick to it. So for a lot of us, as much as we don't like it, we actually really thrive in the midst of structure and regularity. And in the midst of all of this, I think that we've lost a lot of that. It's not that we have to necessarily wake up at the same time to be able to get to work on time, or that we have the same kind of task list and to-do list. So much of it is varied, so much of it is different. And I think that's going to be important to be able to think about, well, if I need to clean up the house, then I need to do it from this time to this time. And I don't have the same pressures of someone coming over, but I think I'm going to feel so much better when I know that I'm going to hold myself accountable and still be able to get this done in a timely fashion. I think the third thing that's important is for us to give ourselves some time off. So boundaries are going to be even more important during this time. So, as much as I hate driving and being in traffic, ironically, there was some value in being able to have some space and boundaries in between home and work. And, for a lot of us, we don't have that any longer. And so implementing that structure and implementing that boundary is going to be paramount to our mental health. So setting a time to really be off and really be off with our families and setting a time to actually come to work and not having a lot of that blend together as much as possible is going to be important for us to, keep our energy levels high. And then the very last thing I think is important for us to take time to reflect. So as totally cliche as it is for a psychologist to be coming and saying, you should journal, we give our clients these trusty journals when they come and they're helpful for us to be able to reflect on what we're experiencing. That actually is really so important because when we're charged up and we're feeling overwhelmed and we're not really able to take the time to identify what we're feeling and why that's happening, unfortunately, it tends to occupy a lot of the space and energy, what I call in the background. So it's just kind of running in the back of our mind. Our limbic system is still pretty charged up, processing through a lot of these intense emotions, but we might not be totally aware of it, able to identify it, talk about it, or again, come up with a creative solution to be able to actually make that go away. And so if you don't journal, that's totally fine, but take a bike ride, do yoga, do something that allows you to tune in better to what you're feeling and identify what that is and then be able to share that with someone else. So, again, for a lot of you out there that are burned out, we totally understand. We totally get that. And just know that you're not alone in that. If you have any questions, you can always leave those in the comments below and subscribe for future content. But in the meantime, stay healthy, stay safe. We care about all of you guys out there. Until we see you again next.